All right, everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Competitive Gaming Network. I'm your host, Sergeant Merrill, and today with me I have Eric D., one of the owners of GameDunzo, who's back again to help discuss some of the awesome events that are soon to come. Eric, how's it going?
It's going awesome. How's it going, Sergeant Merrill?
Pretty good, pretty good. And also with us, we have a little someone you might have heard of, xJawz, otherwise known as Sam.
What's going on, guys? It's Sam or xJawz here. How's it going, Merrill?
Pretty good. It's great to have you, man. How was your vacation? How have things been?
Things have been great with me. Had a hectic the past couple weeks, but I'm back on track and ready to talk about some great things today.
All right, awesome. Before we jump right into this, I wanted to thank everyone for their awesome reception of our first episode with Woody and Mark of J, and of course Eric. It is our goal to bring you content that appeals to the more competitive side of our community, and we're ecstatic that the concept of this series has just been so well received. So to keep up the pace, we wanted to bring an event into the light that is sure to be talked about for years, I think. We're talking about the Tournament of Tournaments. Activision is in the works of sponsoring a Black Ops tournament with $1 million in prizes. I just want to take a second to say that again. $1 million. Right
Wow.
now, yeah. Right now they're being vague about how people are going to get into the event. But Sam, how do you feel about a tournament that's on this scale?
This is insane, to say the very least. So when Eric hit me up today and said, "Sam, I got some news for you. You're the first to hear this. There's going to be a $1 million tournament." I sat there and I was like, "Okay, so this is the moment where Eric punks me or something like that." And it didn't come. It was the truth. He was telling the truth. And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, I said this to Eric. This is going to be, just as you said, Sergeant Merrill, the tournament of tournaments. This is the one. This is the one where you could make the rules that the only guns that are allowed to be used are the Makarov and the Kipparis, and it's going to be a hardcore radar on capture the flag tournament. And for the next 3 months, that's the only thing that people will be playing to practice for this tournament. Fear will quit everything else it's doing and play this. Optic will quit everything else it's doing to practice for this capture the flag tournament, whatever, with radar on and hardcore. It would be ridiculous because this is the tournament that will be remembered literally for years. There's never been a tournament of this scale before for any console game that I know of. So this is insane.
Do you think Activision waited a little late in the lifespan of Black Ops to hold this type of event?
Well, I mean, I kind of wish it was sooner. Like I could always say, I wish there would have been $1 million tournament sooner. But it seems like, right now everyone's gotten the feel of Black Ops. Everyone has been playing competitively for a while, and people are starting to lose a little bit of interest in Black Ops. At least I know from, my fans and the way they react to some of my videos that, Black Ops isn't their number one priority all the time like it used to be. So I think this might actually be a really good time for Activision to decide to do this, because this is going to definitely stir things up in the gaming community to hear that Black Ops, this game that some people are losing interest in, is now hosting a tournament of epic proportions. I think it might be just the right time to hold such a tournament.
Absolutely. Do you think?
Also,
go ahead, Eric.
Also, one of the things I want to add is the actual tournament. I think the pre-qualifying rounds is going to be played in Black Ops, but the actual tournament itself is going to be played in Modern Warfare 3, the actual qualifying round of the bracket, the 32-team bracket.
Oh, really?
Played on Modern Warfare 3, yeah. So they're doing a spin-off, so I think it's a good strategy at this moment for them to bring this huge $1 million prize tournament to go and release their Modern Warfare 3 campaign. So I think it's awesome that they're doing that.
Now, do you think Activision is going to cater more to the competitive scene based on what they see from this?
Well, I'll respond to this one. I think Activision and Infinity Ward and Treyarch, or maybe not Infinity Ward, but Treyarch has definitely shown support for the competitive side of things over the past couple months, where Vaughn and Josh Olin are associating with a lot of people who are into competitive gaming, and then implementing those associations into the game with things such as the competitive playlist. So I think that Activision making this step shows that they recognize the power and the pull of the competitive side of things. Now, they might not be aligning themselves right now with like the MLG or any sort of specific tournament, or like they are aligning themselves with a specific tournament, but no leagues or anything like that, which tells me that they see that competitive gaming in whatever way, shape, or form is going to be something very big very soon, and they want to get in on this. They realize that, and they see, the way StarCraft is regarded in South Korea, and they say, you know what? gaming might be like that soon enough here. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in a decade. But I think that's what they see. That would be my guess.
Yeah,
Very,
absolutely.
very well said. I couldn't agree anymore. I think after the move that MLG is doing now with bringing StarCraft 2 on board to their competitions, MLG is starting to, it's blowing up even bigger now, and I think that Activision is starting to see the esports community growing, and I think they're going to start focusing to a lot in on what the competitive market is doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as people prepare for this, what do you think are the factors that are going to come into play when it comes to winning this competition?
More,
All right. Here's what I'll have to say. Depending on the rules that they decide to go with, that's going to be very, very key. A lot of people are used to playing MLG rules and then going into private tournaments and changing up the way they play based on whatever the new rules are. I think that what is decided for exactly how it'll play, obviously, I don't think it'll be a radar on hardcore capture the flag game, but what they decide to make this tournament and how they decide to make people play and what game modes they decide to have people play, that's going to have a huge impact on what's actually going to happen. A lot of private tournaments are sort of notorious for sometimes having some bad rules. I mean, in the past, a
Yeah.
lot of people invented team death matches and stuff like that. Back in Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, when people were familiar with the competitive games being domination, search and destroy, sabotage. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what rule set they go with and exactly what game modes they decide to play. So that would probably be the deciding factor in what goes into who's going to win this competition. Because if it is those really strict competitive rules, then you'll probably see teams that have been playing those competitive rules for a very, very long time, such as the Optic teams, the Fear, the
Yeah.
Envy, Leverage. Those players will go on to do really well in this tournament.
And that's just something we're just going to have to see with time. But moving on, now also Treyarch has also saw out the release of their third map pack, Annihilation, this week, and its reception has been pretty positive so far. Sam, what is your first impression of this, and is it worth the money?
Well, here's the way I always like to approach this sort of question with the map packs. I enjoy map packs. I want to preface it by saying this. I enjoy map packs almost every single time for the sole reason of it's a breath of fresh air to me. I put countless hours into Call of Duty, more so than the average player, more so than 99% of people, because I have a passion for the game. I love it. It's really fun to me. And because I play it so much, just seeing a new map, just having new scenery is so great to me. It spices up the game a little bit and makes things fun for a couple weeks for me. And then the excitingness, how exciting it is to play these new maps, sort of dies out over a little bit. But what I will say is this: what determines whether or not you should buy it or you shouldn't buy it is just what I just said. It's how much do you actually play the game. If you, on average, put in your Call of Duty Black Ops game and turn on your Xbox to play some multiplayer for 2 to 3 hours a week, or if not less than that, it might not be a good buy for you. It might not be worth the $15 because then per hour you're going to be paying a fair amount of money for these maps. But let's say you're someone who plays like I do for 5, 6, 7 hours a week, putting your game disc in for maybe 1 or 2 hours every single day, just kind of getting home and relaxing after you're working or after school, whatever it may be. Then it becomes worth it for you because then you're paying like pennies on the dollar for like how much this map pack is going to be worth to you, because it doesn't matter if you're playing it for that little bit of time or you're playing it every waking moment of every single day. It's costing the same amount to you, except per hour it's costing less to you. So that's what it comes down to. If you play more than 4 or 5 hours, get it. If you don't, probably not worth it for you. Might as well just save your money for a different game or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to go ahead and say that it's worth it. I mean, I really do think it's one of the best map packs yet, out of any Call of Duty. What's your favorite map and why?
I'm gonna have to go with the remake of Cliffside Hazard. I
Yes.
really enjoy that map. It's really vibrant, which I like. I know Woody's Gamer Tag, who was on last week, he's someone who always talks about that. The colors of the map really do matter. It kind of makes it a lot more entertaining to play a map that's really bright and colorful like that. And just the layout of the map is great. I love long range maps. It's a really open map that is suited for assault rifle gameplay, which is something that I love. Rushing is great, but it's not my favorite way to play the game.
Hmm.
I like the fact that it caters towards sniping as well. If you want to have fun with like a PSG-1 or something like that, I can do that on occasion. And it's suited really well for different non-kill-based games like Domination. The way the flags are set up, I like it. It works well for Demolition, where you've got the bombs on either side of the map, and then you've got a really nice middle, which is actually the fairway of the green. And I just like the fact that they made it into a golf course or one hole on a golf course. It's really cool. I like
Yeah,
that map a lot.
and I'm gonna have to quote one of my friends, B-52 Fortress, which Aviator did as well. But it's like Activision discovered the color green, and it's beautiful. So, what do you think they got right in this map pack, and what do you think they could have done better?
Well, I think they did. I think they definitely got it right to remake a map, that people liked, and they did it very well. So I appreciate that. What they could have done better, man, I'm not a fan of Drive-In. Drive-In and Silo aren't great maps, and the fact that they made Silo such a big map, which I said is something I like, but they added so much clutter to it. What I'll say, clutter.
Yes.
Um, it annoys me a little bit because you've got something in your way almost at all times, and it doesn't feel like a big map anymore. It feels like a bunch of small maps, a bunch of small, short range, close range encounters, and that's what I don't like too much about that map in particular. So I'd say what they did right, Hazard. What they did wrong, the way they made, the way they designed Silo and everything that they put in it.
Yeah, Silo is definitely an SMG map, and it tricks a lot of people. They think it's a sniper map, and it really isn't. But let's move on to our next topic, which is the FAMAS changes. And we discussed this in our last episode. Changes were coming to the most prominent weapon in competitive gameplay on Black Ops, the FAMAS. And Woody and Marka J were very hopeful that it would kind of diversify the weapons that you see when playing competitively. And now that the patch is here, do you think it was enough? And do you think it'll still be a favorite?
Hmm. What I'm gonna have to say to this is I'm gonna go a little bit on a tangent here. I'm gonna get elaborate because I
Okay,
have different thoughts than I think most people do
let's go.
on the competitive weapons. Well, to answer your question, I'll first say this. I think they did enough. Actually, let me go on my tangent first. 'Cause it's a little bit more relevant that way. Um, one of the I first started Call of Duty in Call of Duty 4, and I got into competitive gaming, and I loved it. And I loved that game because it was so simple. It was simple in multiplayer. It was, and everyone talks about how simple Call of Duty 4 was, but it was even more simple in competitive gameplay. And a lot of people talk about the downfall of Call of Duty 4, like the not the downfall, but the couple things in there that were bad eggs, things that people didn't really like, things like three frag, martyrdom, stuff like that. But when it comes to competitive gaming, you don't have those in there. Things get very, very simple, and everything about that game is perfect. And one of the things that I thought was perfect about Call of Duty 4 was that there were pretty much two weapons when it came to competitive play. There was the MP5 Red Dot and the M16 Red Dot. And pretty much everyone was running Bandolier, Stopping Power, and Ninja, or 3-stun, Stopping Power, Ninja, before the MLG changed the rules for what was allowed. And I loved that. So many people talk about how they dislike the lack of diversity in guns in competitive play, and I love that lack of diversity. If it was up to me, everyone would be using a FAMAS in competitive play in public matches, because then all it comes down to is not who has the better circumstance, but merely who has the more skill in any given gunfight. I know that isn't the popular answer, and I know there's a lot of people who would rather see everyone use a different gun, and people are tired of seeing the same scenery over and over and over, scenery being FAMAS over and over and over. But I like that. It's
Yeah.
more competitive, in my opinion. So there's my 2 cents on that. And as far as the FAMAS changes go, I think they definitely did change it. I mean, I notice a difference. I find it a little bit more difficult to use. And instead of using that on Hazard, I'm leaning towards the G11 or the M16, when I would have probably before maybe used the FAMAS more often on it. So there's, what I have to say about the FAMAS.
So you think they're going in the wrong direction by trying to diversify too much to the point where they're ruining a weapon?
I would say that it's okay to have a few standout weapons. It's not like we have. I'm trying to think of a good example. An M4 situation
Hmm.
before the. If you remember, if you played the beta for Call of Duty 4, the M4 was absurd. It was the only weapon that people used because it was ridiculous. And so many people don't even know about this because they didn't play the beta for Call of Duty 4. They only actually played the game. And in the actual game, the M4 is not a standout weapon. It's a good weapon, don't get me wrong, but it's not a standout weapon. And that weapon needed to be patched. I would say the MP40 probably needed to be patched in World at War, but I never really played that game. But I hear everyone always say that, so I assume it's a similar situation. The FAMAS is not another M4. It's not another M40. It's just a great weapon. Okay? And as soon as they see everyone lean towards this great weapon, they assume there must be an overpowered problem. And it's not an overpowered problem. It's just an overused problem and a better problem. There's got to be some guns that are better than other ones, and I think they should just deal with that.
Yeah. What do you think, Eric? Do you think that the FAMAS was overpowered and appropriately patched?
I think so. I think they did a great job with the new changes. I think it's definitely going to take away from a lot of the people that were used to using the FAMAS, and like xJawz said, he's leaning more towards something like the M16 now. So I think so. I think they did a good job by doing that.
All right. Well, let's move on to our last topic then. We wanted to touch on MLG and their next event in Anaheim, California. The last MLG event that was held in Columbus was one of the most successful competitive events in recent history. And July 29th through 31st is going to get even bigger. We're talking about the best of the best going at it through StarCraft 2, Halo Reach, and Black Ops. Sam, what do you think makes MLG such a great event, and what can people expect from it?
Well, MLG in general is just a great arena right now for competitive gaming. They host these events every couple months at different locations across the United States and Canada, and they're always a lot of fun. And I've only ever been to one, I should say, but I've only heard good feedback from everyone who's ever gone to one, and it's great because you're around a lot of people who otherwise might be considered like nerds or antisocial, and a lot of times you get to meet these people. And don't get me wrong, there's a few people out there who are hermits. They're not people who go out there and they talk a lot, but a lot of these people you assume to be these nerds who sit up in their rooms and just play video games all day, and you meet them and you shake their hand and you have a conversation, or you sit down to lunch with them and you say, wow, these people are really cool guys. I mean, just to name a couple, Hastro, Stainville, those guys from Envious, Hex from Optic. I mean, those guys are all big gamer guys, but when you sit down and talk to them, they're really awesome people, and that's great. The community, not only the online community, but the community when you actually meet these people is great, and that's what I like most about these LAN events.
So, who are you rooting for in this event?
Oh, I think I've got cross allegiances between a bunch of people, but I think I'm going to have to hand my official allegiance over to Team Envious
All right.
with Mike and the other guys on that team. They're all great guys. Met them before, and I support them, and I think they're doing good things and they're going great places. So I like Envious.
Envious.
That's awesome. Now, Eric, GameDunzo is actually holding their own little event at MLG in a penthouse. It's at the Hilton, correct?
So we're my partners and I were talking about doing something cool. We're always thinking of really awesome ideas that we can do around other shows or around events that deal with the video game industry. And so we heard about the MLG Anaheim. It's going to be in our hometown. We live 30 minutes away from Anaheim. So we started talking about some ideas of putting something together. And then when I found out that it was at the Hilton, I started looking into it, and I found out that they actually do have they have a few presidential suites. So I thought, hey, maybe we should get one of the presidential suites and invite some of these top pro gaming teams that are competing at MLG, provide some free food for them, provide some free drinks for them. So I called our friends over at NOS Energy Drink, spoke to them about the idea. They said they'd be more than willing to help us out with providing the drinks and the food. Then I picked up the phone. I called our friends over at Justin TV, spoke to them about the idea, and they said that they would be more than willing to help us do the event and stream it live on their homepage of both Justin TV and Twitch TV. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to be at MLG all weekend, and then we're going to invite a lot of our friends that are pro gaming teams. We're going to invite them to come over. We're going to interview them in front of the camera directly live from the presidential suite at the Hilton, where everyone's going to be just kind of hanging out. It's going to be more of a social environment. Like xJawz was saying, a lot of these guys, aside from being professional gamers and being really good gamers, they're very cool people to be like hang out with and talk to and get to know them. So it's going to be more of a social event. We are going to do a lot of interviews where we're going to talk about strategy and what they did at the event, what they could have done better. So everyone's going to get to see that. And on top of that, before the actual stream goes live at the presidential suite at the Hilton, Commentator Showdown 2 is going to be streaming live on the same channel, on the same homepage of Justin TV and Twitch TV. So we're organizing the Commentator 2 showdown as we speak. So that's going to be streamed for the first 2.5 hours, and then we're going to go live to the presidential suite. So it's going to be a fun event. I think more than anything, we're doing it just to have fun with what we're doing. My partners and I are always thinking of fun ways of giving back to the communities and to the community and our friends that are going to be at MLG. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I have a good feeling about that.
Yeah. Well, aside from the vague idea that I think a tiger is going to be in the bathroom the next morning, what do you think is going to make this competition or this commentator showdown bigger, better, and different than the last one?
Well, aside from us making the presidential suite into a Hangover 3 movie, yeah, I think the best, I think one of the coolest thing of the commentator showdown 2 is the fact that we're gonna do it using Modern Warfare 3.
Oh, you mean
It's
2?
gonna be played.
2.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2.
Because I was about to say, I'm there.
Yeah, we don't have access to that yet, but it's gonna be played on Modern Warfare 2. It was something that everyone, after the commentator showdown, the first one went down, everyone started tweeting it out, asking, hey, we should do one in Modern Warfare 2. We got plenty of emails requesting it from some of the YouTubers, and so we said, all right, fine. I think Woody even posted a video and a tweet asking his viewers, hey, would you guys like to see the next commentator showdown using Modern Warfare 2 versus Black Ops again? And everyone responded with great feedback. So that's one of the big news too, is that we're gonna do Modern Warfare 2 commentator showdown, and then we're gonna go live directly from the presidential suite. So
that sounds awesome.
Hopefully we can get xJawz to come out there and hang out here to hang out with us at the presidential suite. That's the only way xJawz does it. Is he does it if he's gonna do something, he does it big.
It's in a presidential suite, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it turns into a Hangover 3 party.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get that done. That'll be a great video, a recap video.
All right, well, Sam, Eric, we're coming up on the end of our episode 2. Do you have anything you want to put out before we end?
No, just thanks for having us. xJawz, thanks for being on the show with us, and really appreciate your time, your support with everything that you've been supporting with GameDunzo with. It means a lot to us, and thanks for being around.
Thank you for having me as well, Sergeant Merrill and Eric. I appreciate it, and this was a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed our second episode of the Competitive Gaming Network, and we'd love to hear your feedback. If you have a topic you want us to hit up on or someone you'd like to see on the show, be sure to let us know in the comment section. But that's all I have here, guys, for episode 2. This is Sergeant Merrill, out here.